to Horses, Hope, and Hustle, the podcast where faith leads, grit drives, and the Western way of life runs deep. I'm your host, Crystal Show, wife, horsewoman, entrepreneur, and believer that God doesn't waste the hard stuff. Around here, we talk real stories, big dreams, and the kind of hustle that's rooted in hope. So pull your hat down, pour that coffee, and let's ride. You guys are listening to the 25th episode of this podcast. Holy cow. I don't even know where to begin. I've said it before. I've said it so many times. This podcast was an absolute passion project of mine. It's something that I'd been wanting to do for a few years, and it felt very pushed out of my comfort zone, I think is what held me back for a lot of time. And in the short amount of time that we've been doing this, I just am in absolute awe at all of you who listen, who share it with your friends. I appreciate you more than you know, more than I can say. And I'm so excited to continue this on, to continue growing the podcast, having new guests on. I've got to meet a lot of incredible people. I've got to share some stories of some people I already knew. And it's really just been so incredibly, I don't know the words. I don't know. It's been such a blessing, truly. I'm just thankful for all of you. So without further ado, in honor of our 25th episode, I have decided to share clips from the top three episodes of our first 24 episodes. I feel like these 3 episodes, it's funny, I went off of the most downloaded, and because I couldn't pick my favorite. I don't have a favorite episode. I love them all, and there's pieces from every single one that I feel like resonate with anyone and everyone, and hopefully they resonate. I listened to it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. So anyway, I hope that you guys feel that way too. But I just took clips from the top 3 downloaded of the first 24 episodes, and I'm actually sitting here editing it. You can't see that part if you're watching the video. I'm waiting for the clips to download so I can insert this. Also, it's Tuesday and the episode comes out Wednesday. It's been busy. It's been crazy. We got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of cool things coming along. Returning, working with some repeat clients, just all the things. But it's fantastic. It's awesome learning how to grow there. So it's Tuesday afternoon at 2:30, and I'm editing the episode that will launch at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. Let's take a moment to thank my editor, Kylie. She's the best ever. So give her a clap if you can. Anyway, sitting here editing these top 3 episodes, I thought it was so cool because these 3 episodes fall literally right in line of Horses, Hope, and Hustle and what our mission with this podcast is. Our number 1 downloaded episode was Following Your Calling from God with our pastor, Pastor Scott Mathis from Church at Rancho Rio. I loved his whole episode. I took a clip from his episode talking about, maybe people that are lost and finding their way. And he just has the best things to say, most relatable to our cowboy culture. That's his first clip, or that's our first replay clip of this episode. So I hope you enjoy. What would you kind of recommend someone that maybe is not down a great path in life right now and wanting to, lean into their faith more, but really has no idea where to start? What would you kind of recommend to someone like that?
Yeah, I think that it's amazing how God works, and there'll be people listening to this podcast where God is beginning to reveal himself either through the awesomeness of his creation or the horribleness of this world. And you begin to ask questions like, okay, God, if you're good, why do floods happen? Why did this happen to me? Why? And the why questions can either drive us to just medicate ourselves through some addiction of some sort, through shopping or porn or alcohol or drugs, or they can allow us to begin to say, okay, God, if you're real, I need to know you. And I think the reality is that we need to then start reading the Bible. God, the Bible is a unique book amongst all the books in the world. And I studied it to disprove it for years, and then discovered that God really did write a book, and it's called the Bible. And the Bible isn't about God. It's a book by God that where he has revealed himself to us. And he hasn't told us everything we want to know in the Bible. And there's things in the Bible that obviously really good, godly people still struggle with or disagree on. But the main message from Genesis to Revelation is that the Messiah really did need to come because of humankind's sin, and that the Messiah ended up being Jesus the Christ, or Messiah, and that he really was born of a virgin. He really did live a sinless life, and he really did go to the cross to pay your sin debt and mine. And so it is important that people read the Bible. And I would encourage, if you have some sort of religious background, I would read the book of Romans in the New Testament. There are some hard things in there, but it will help you understand why you're a sinner in need of a savior. If you're just totally new to the whole Christian scene, I encourage people to read the Gospel of John and read it. And again, there'll be some things in there that you won't understand, but the basic premise of John is, are you going to believe in Jesus Christ as your savior? So I know that churches can be really criticized and everything, but most churches really, yes, there's hypocrites there, but most churches are really trying to teach and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. And there are many, many good churches out there. And so I would encourage people to read the Bible, go to a church that some other Christian recommends that you trust. And then at some point, God has given you a choice where you need to say, do I believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ? And I need to turn and allow God to change my mind and turn from my sin and Satan and society and turn to the Savior, Jesus. And it is awesome to be a Christian. I mean, it's not easy, but I love my life as a Christian because it allows you to experience love in a whole new way, experience creation. You can look at creation and realize, oh, this didn't just evolve. God spoke and this world began. And it gives you a construct to understand suffering and loss and the hard things. Like we're cutting this podcast, right? Just a couple weeks after the horrible floods down in Texas. And again, we Christians are like, this is horrible. And we weep and we cry, but we go to work trying to help because we have a construct that when Adam and Eve sinned, it brought in death and it changed even the beauty and perfection of God's creation. And so lightning strikes happen, floods happen, earthquakes happen. And we Christians, when you become a Christian, you at least have an ability to understand, wow, this is not good and horrible. But someday Jesus is going to come back, and someday there's going to be, the Bible says, a new heaven and a new earth where there is never going to, that's never going to happen again. And so at least we Christians have an ability to understand why the horrible things that happen in this world.
Yeah.
So if anyone's out there, I don't want, and again, it used to drive me crazy when I wasn't a Christian and Christians wanted me to be a Christian. So if you're listening to this podcast, I get it. But man, once you fall in love with Jesus, like I don't want anybody in hell saying, why didn't Scott Mathis tell me about Jesus? Like I still want everybody I know to know Christ and the power of his resurrection. And I get it. I get that that's offensive to people. It used to be offensive to me. I'd tell people just to go straight to hell when they tried to share Jesus with me. And I get it. I get it. But now that I'm on the other side and am a Christian and Jesus has revolutionized my life, I am totally want everybody I know to know Christ.
Yeah, that's super neat. So if people need a church, do you guys have online services for where you're at in Nebraska right now too?
Yeah, they CreteBerean.org, I think, is the you can get my sermons, or we also link them to church@ranchorio.com and on the Facebook page as well. So they can find my sermons on those two sites. Yes.
Yeah. We'll link them in this podcast too. If anybody needs a good place to go, they can come at least to your online services. Speaking of the Bible, what's your favorite verse or passage in the Bible?
Oh, well, my life verse is Romans chapter 12, verse 11. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. And so I chose that verse many, many years ago. And so I do want to remain zealous for my Lord Jesus. Probably Romans is my favorite book in the Bible as well. So
there's a lot of good stuff in Romans.
Yes, there is. Yes.
What do you think has been your biggest struggle, either like staying on the path of righteousness or becoming a pastor? What do you think is the biggest struggle there?
And I probably referenced this a little earlier, but my biggest struggle is I'm an introvert called to live in an extroverted world as a Christian leader. And I can easily get burnt out with people and their problems. And I have repeatedly had seasons of depression and discouragement, of fighting through being called to do something I wouldn't pick, which is being a pastor. And I've had to really work through that. But also, again, like, we all have things we wouldn't pick. Every one of us has things in life that maybe we wouldn't choose, or how did I get into this situation, or this marriage, or this family construct, or family business, or whatever. And we know God's called us to do it. How do we remain faithful and have joy when we have some areas of our life that we wouldn't pick? And I think that has been my main thing I've had to wrestle with God. And I have great long seasons of accepting my call and my assignments. But I also still, even in my old age, I just want to run away and just be on a horse all day, every day. And so I think that all of us in life, very few of us get to do exactly what we want all the time. The vast majority of us have to struggle with, how do I find joy and peace and live my life not constantly fighting for something else I want? And there's this tension, right? There's a tension that we live in of, okay, God, if you've put this dream in my heart, I want to do it, but I also have these other responsibilities. And so there is a tension that we don't always get right, and that we have to wrestle it out with God and finally come to submission. I mean, every horse that's any good at some point says, okay, I'll let you be my leader. And they become your really good partner. And it's that way with us, with God. At some point, we have to say, okay, God, I wouldn't pick this, but I accept that you're assigning me this.
Our second most downloaded clip of the first 24 episodes is Building More Than a Horse Sale with Charlotte Volt. I absolutely love Charlotte. She's a great peer of mine. She's also a first-generation horse entrepreneur. She's building the Colorado Horse Sale in Colorado, doing amazing things. So if you're a listener in Colorado area and want a live sale to go to, check out the Colorado Horse Sale. I love what she had to talk about, the struggles and the biggest rewards in her episode. That is mainly what this highlight clip is about, but there's some incredible pieces in there. If you go back and listen to her full episode, highly recommend. Talking about building community within a horse sale, which I personally admire so much coming from my horse sale standpoint. Another excellent episode. Here you go. What do you think has kind of been your biggest struggle in all of this? Maybe not necessarily like per sale but just like building this business in general.
Yeah, I think something that consistently, I was thinking about this since you sent me the questions, and I think a consistent struggle.
I threw this one at you right before we started.
I've been thinking. So I'm sure you go through this too. My business is first generation. It's new. I'm a young person, and I get so many people who basically are like, "Who are you, and why would I use you?"
Yeah.
And so pitching that to sellers is tricky, because you're like, yeah, I mean, I am young and I am a new business and I don't have parents that have done this before me. Pitching that to people, especially in the Western industry, is difficult. And I've learned that you can't convince everybody, but you can always give it your best shot and they might come around one day.
Yeah.
So I've convinced, I've not convinced, but I've talked to a lot of people and, assured them that our auction is a great place to come by and sell. And they've been easy sells. But I've also talked to a lot of people who just are not ready to make the jump either to an auction or to our auction as a buyer or seller. And I've gotten FUs and I've gotten, I'll call you in 10 years. And
right.
That's always hard to hear because you're like, man, I'm really putting my best foot forward. And I wish they knew that. But I think that people come around way more than you think. So that's been, a good lesson to learn is like, okay, they don't think we're worth a darn right now, but let's get through this next auction and they're going to see those results and they're going to be like, man, all right, maybe we'll come to town. So I would say that's consistently, it comes up every week. I get a phone call every week of somebody being like, well, I heard about your sale, but wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to come sell with us. I'm never going to hold you at gunpoint to come buy or sell with us. You can go wherever you want,
Yeah.
But here's what I offer and I feel good about it. And I hope you'll join us one day. So
yeah,
that's definitely been, like I said, that's a consistent struggle as a young person in a competitive industry.
Yes. I think too, like when you're in that business, I know like for me, I've definitely had that because like I started my sales business up in Montana where there's one of the largest catalog sales in the world. I live in the same city pretty much. And one thing that I have had to learn is like, one, you can't take that stuff personal. Like, and two, the thing is like you said, like you can't convince people. You could show them all the results and you could have all the reasons in the world for them to use you. But at the end of the day, if there's one little tiny thing that's their excuse to not use you, that just is what it is. Like I've had best friends of mine choose to go, to another company. And it's like at the end of the day, it's your choice. But like learning to not take that personal, I think has always been a struggle for me is it's like, I am trying my ass off. I have put in, because people don't know what you're doing behind the scenes and how long it has been like feast or famine and like, and just being like, you know what? Okay. Like that's fine because I have other people that are 100 times more supportive and they don't even know the struggle or the story or, but sometimes drawing that line of like your personal feelings and like, it's just business is like, okay, whatever. Like it's, I think the more you do it, it's easier. But at first I'd be like, oh my God, they hate me. And it's like, nah, fuck that. Like,
Yeah, I remember when we were first getting started, there was so much of that. I mean, I was younger, like I'm 28. Like when we first started, I was a kid, you know.
yeah,
And I think people were just like, "Who are you? And what are what are you doing? And why would we come work with you?" And I used to take it a lot more personally, but I also used to have a lot more energy and be like, "I'm gonna convince them," you know.
yeah.
And now I'm like, I've listened to the Mel Robbins "Let Them Theory" book like 3 times.
Mhm.
And I firmly believe in it. Like, just if they don't want to come sell to you and they want to go somewhere else, let them. Like, if they
Yeah.
want to come back, they will.
Yeah. But that
So
is such a hard line too, because like you, to a point, you have to prove that like your company's on the right track,
right.
but you can't spend so much energy proving to individuals that they need to use you. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's a fine line too, because obviously, like, to be successful, you have to keep growing, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's a very fine line to balance.
Definitely, and
throughout.
you don't want customers to think like, oh, she just doesn't care if I go somewhere else, or she doesn't care if those buyers go somewhere else. Like that is not at all how we work. But if people
Mhm.
have a complex in their brain where they do not want to buy from you, but they're calling you and basically asking for like reassurance, I'm not going to try to change your mind. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I can feel in a phone call if somebody's like just asking questions and wants to learn more, or they're asking questions because they want to be assured to go somewhere else. Like I'm not gonna, you know, I'll be 100% honest with you about how we operate and, you know, what we have to offer and, you know, the process that you're going to go through as a customer of ours. But if you really have it in your mind that going to this other sale is where you need to be, that's totally okay. And it's
Mhm.
good for people to have options.
Yeah. Well, I think too, sometimes like those people that you have to work so hard to convince, they might come to your sale, but then they're just looking for every little tiny piece of, something to blow out of
Critical.
proportion or
Yeah.
just be a pain, like they're not the people you really want in your community anyways. Like
Yes.
if you're not happy
Yeah.
to come onto the boat, we don't want you. We don't need you
Yeah.
sinking it.
Yeah, totally. Like if you're just gonna come and critique everything, or we've had people write us like anonymous emails, and I'm like, you can also just call me and tell me what you think. Like that's fine. You know, how
Yeah.
are we supposed to get better if we don't know?
Yeah.
So I've, and
I
that's every business, I'm sure, feels that way.
yeah.
But
Yeah. I think that deal that came up on Facebook not that long ago, I think was such a testimony to your business though, because somebody posted an anonymous post on one of the groups of something, and it felt like to me they were trying to like find one little piece, like they were trying to like egg on a negative whatever with this post, and I thought it was so cool how many people came on there and spoke nothing but good things about your business. And then you got on there too, which I'm like, Charlotte has more balls than I do, I think. And you got on there, and the people that were saying bad things, like in this moment I was watching it, I'm like, Charlotte's my idol. I love Charlotte, because anyone that did have something bad to say, you were like, call me and let's fix it, because like that's not my intention, that's not my company. But like there were so many more people on there that had nothing but good things to say about it, and I think that
yeah,
that's just so cool and like speaks volumes about like the company you are building and how like you are able to maneuver your way through that. And I think that said a lot too to the people watching. When anyone had, the couple negative comments people said, you were right there, like, this is my phone number, call me and we'll work on it. Like, or, and I think that was just like a huge testimony. And I'm sure that whoever that anonymous person was like, oh, that didn't go as planned, because I was hoping
yeah.
for my doors,
It
and
did
it was
feel
like,
I did feel like that person had a little bit of a plan. They were trying to get something to be said, and I was like, we don't operate that way. Like right off the bat, I was like, hey, call me. Like I would love to tell you literally everything about my business. And all of our customers, I think, would be like, yeah, Charlotte's pretty open book. Like,
yeah,
you want to know what's really going on here? Here's what's really going on. So,
yeah.
I try to be really, really honestly transparent. And, if somebody doesn't like the way we do something, I'm happy to hear it. But we do have a lot of processes in place for a reason. We are heavily audited. We're, we have to maintain lots of standards, and that's why we do a lot of the things the way we do. So that's but yeah, it was that post was crazy. There were so many people that were like, I love my horses from the Colorado horse sale, and I've had
Mhm.
such a good experience there. So there's so many happy customers, which is awesome. And that's kind of like one of the best parts is getting messages after the sale of people being like, hey, we bought this horse for our 12-year-old daughter and she's just absolutely in love. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I was a 12-year-old girl that wanted a horse once, you know, like that's really cool. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I guess that kind of answered my next question is what was your big, like, what's kind of the biggest reward to all of this?
Yeah, I would say like seeing people get horses that they've wanted for a long time. Gosh, I get teared up about this too. But I don't know, for instance, like at the sale in Montrose this spring, a gentleman, he's 81 years old, and he bought the high selling mule. And he came up to me. He's been a really good customer. He's come to a lot of our sales and watched, and he's never bought anything. And when I looked out in the crowd and saw it was Ray winning this mule, I was like, oh my gosh, like he has waited so long for this moment, you know, like he tried it was so cool. Everybody was crying. And even the seller was like, oh my gosh, like that's who I want this mule to go to. And I really didn't even know he was gonna buy him. But he had come to those sales, he had tried all sorts of horses and mules and was just like shopping for his dreams. Like, I'm 81 years old. I'm fully retired. I ride 4 or 5 days a week. And I just want to have the prettiest mule on the block now because I can. And so he bought this mule and I was like, oh my gosh. The day before we had sold him a horse last year, private treaty, and he wrote me this thank you note. And in the thank you note, it had like pictures of him and his wife and this horse. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. It was like all like handwritten and so cute. And then the next day he bought this mule and he had this conversation with me the night before. Like, I'm just getting to this point where like, I just want to do what makes me happy. And like, you know, riding is what brings that out in me. And then you look up in the crowd and there's Ray winning the bid on like the coolest mule I've ever seen, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, like that is literally why we do it, you know?
Yeah.
I get choked up, but yeah, that stuff like that and stories like that where like the seller and the buyer, like this is literally meant to be. We're so happy with where this horse ended up. That's ultimately all we want.
Yeah, it's so crazy when you pour so much into a business. Like, I don't think unless you've been in there or whatever, it's so crazy how much stress and hard, you know, like all the hours, the stress, the blood, sweat, and tears, and like the littlest, tiniest moments are what like just keeps you going.
Absolutely, 100%. And we had same thing with the last sale. We had an older kind of you know, horse that needed some maintenance, and this family, you know, the gal that represented him, she represented him exactly for what he was. She was like, this is a perfect first horse, you know. Some family is going to be so happy to get this horse home and just like have it take care of their kids. Boom. Like the day after the sale, we're getting messages from this family that bought this horse and they're like, oh my gosh, like we have a daughter. She's kind of special needs. Like she absolutely loves him. And that's just so cool. Like that's why we do it. And we sent it to the seller and she was like, this is why we bring horses to your sale, because you have buyers for everything, you know?
Yeah.
We have them for $25,000 mules and, you know, $3,000 old geldings that just need a good place to live out their years. So that's the best part. And if that's how every sale went, it'd be amazing, you know. For the most part, that is how it goes. But that's definitely why I continue to do it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so cool.
Thanks. So cool. Yeah, so fun. You need to get down to a sale.
I know. I have the April sale. Okay, it's Women of the West, or what's the women's session called? I just lost it.
Yeah, the Women of the West special session.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I'm coming down next year. I'll probably still be in Arizona, but I will be there.
Yeah, that's in April, and it's just so cool. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our third most downloaded episode from the first 24. My dear friend and absolute badass Naomi Bancroft. Her episode is called From Cattle to Cowhorse, The Humble Hustler. Because if you know Naomi, absolute humble, works her tail off. I love this episode because we talk horse training, we talk getting into the cow horse, we talk, again, community and making a barn setting that feels like a family. And if you know Naomi and the group at Setting Sun Ranch, they absolutely are that. They are an incredible community. And I do think that what they've built is something to admire because it does feel like family. It is a safe environment. It's a safe place. You will guaranteed to have a blast there as well. So they're the third most downloaded episode. Enjoy this.
But yeah, I can remember when one of the first times I showed him, I come out to check my bit. My hands are shaking so bad I couldn't get the throat latch undone. I got that undone. I just slapped it up past his ears and turned around and went walking out and tried to get away from people because I struggled with people, and they all thought I was mute or something. And go walking out, and pretty soon I was like, something feels wrong. And I turned around. Hell, I was just dragging the bridle. And luckily he was a really good-minded stud. He didn't go try to beat anything, but he just shook his head and the bridle came off and I didn't realize it. I was just dragging the bridle across the pen for about 30 feet. And I run back over there and threw it back on him, and I better do the throat latch back up. So yeah,
that's funny.
live and learn.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is just going out there and doing the daily grind and just getting them all rode and making them all better horses, a little bit every day. I think that's the biggest thing is there's no shortcut. Because as soon as you take a shortcut, it's gonna kick you in the ass at some point. So,
yeah,
I would honestly say in the coaching that might be a little bit different, but I think it's you're either but at the same time I've worked with a bunch of other guys that are really really good coaches, and I've worked with a bunch of guys that maybe don't coach as well, but are really, really good horsemen.
Yeah.
And so I think it's an individual thing,
Yeah. I know the things that you taught me, like riding with my feet, has helped me tremendously, even with my stud horse, because I never would have been able to manhandle him through things. And Brian was on him the other day. It was so funny. They started healing, and he's like trying to figure out how to ride a cow horse, not a straight rope horse, which is the whole thing. His butthead stud wouldn't move his feet. He's just being lazy. That's all. And I'm like, use your feet. And he goes, it doesn't make any sense. How do you use your feet to back them up? And I was like, I wish Naomi was here to tell you, because I don't know. That's what Naomi taught me, and it works. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there. That thing always stuck with me. So
yeah, move your feet and watch your cow, right?
Yeah. I don't think I would have as good of patience coaching, or maybe it's just not supposed to coach your spouse thing. We get along pretty good, but sometimes I just get so I know that horse can be so much better.
Yeah. You shouldn't help anybody you've seen naked. That is a golden rule, and it's a good one to live by. I did not coin that one, but it is maybe one of the best advices. Luckily, my fiance, he has nothing to do with riding horses. He completely stays out of it, and it's best that way. And I stay out of his farming. Like I said, I got fired. I fired myself at a young age from a tractor, so we're all good.
Everybody stays in their lane.
Yeah, it's best that way. No veering. If you're going to use an indicator, let us know you're gonna veer.
That's hilarious. What do you think keeps you motivated, over the years, from when you first started showing to when you started having some success? What kept you going?
Well, I'm really stubborn. That probably. To be completely honest, yeah.
Motivational quote of the day.
Yeah. Tell me I can't, and I'll work 3 times harder trying to prove to you I can. I would say that, and then helping people. I enjoy going and showing and myself and everything like that, but when to watch somebody else take a horse that I've made and go be successful You know, it's one thing you get one broken up, you can go show through the pen. It's another thing when they can take them home and keep them at home, and them horses stay good and they know their job, and maybe come in for a tune up here or there, but pretty much once I say they're ready to go home, they get to go home, and people have been very successful with them even after that. And I think that comes back to the, just doing the grind and putting that foundation on them and making sure you don't skip any steps and make them horses very confident in the job they're doing. And so then your non-pros can go. They don't have to live here at the house in order for them to have success, like Christy lives 5 hours from me, and she'd bring her horse down and put him on a cow once before we go to the show, and we go and show, and she's had a lot of success that way. Same thing with Megan. She lives, she's probably 5-6 hours away. Granted, her horse, I didn't train him as a young horse, but he came and lived with me last fall for a while, and then has come back for a tune-up here and there. He's a little green in the bridle, but she hauls in and takes a lesson or so, and then we go to the shows. So, but I think that's the main thing, just making them horses confident, and then them riders get confident in them horses, and people that have been with me for a while, they know what that product is, and they know it pays to just let them get broke.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's, I'd say, the biggest thing. So yeah, just watching other people go have success on that horse, even if it isn't quite as good as you thought that horse could look.
Noted.
It's okay. You can fix it.
You can fix it.
Yeah.
Oh. What's been your favorite horse over all the years? Do you have a favorite? I gotta plug my computer and it's gonna die.
I can't say that I have just like obviously the Yellow Stud was close to the heart. I had a CD Diamond mare that I absolutely loved. She was not easy. Oh, she was terrible. She's just as stubborn as I am, and so that one was a challenge to get trained. And I was riding pins at the time, and I was ready to just chunk her out for a rope horse. And last ditch effort, I was like, "Oh, you're just gonna go ride pins." And I don't know if it was just because that life was so terrible or what, but I did that on her for a couple of weeks, and then I rode her in the arena, and it was like a whole new horse, and she was ready to agree. So, I don't know if it was the frigid trailer ride to the feed yard and our version of what are those? It's slipping my mind right now. Where they stand the horses on the dill and it shakes. What are those things called?
Vibroplate thing, or
yes,
yeah.
Our old steel trailer, that's our version of that. That thing vibrates and shakes all over the place. Them show horses, you load something in there that's never been loaded, only been in like nice fancy slant load trailers and stuff, and they like get in there and they like look around like, you taking me through a haunted house or what? And they just start vibrating everywhere. You've seen it. It's still the same one.
In the summertime, I remember my little bay horse. We get to wherever we're going, and they're just like caked in dust. Like you can just like see his eye.
Yeah, and then you blow that dust off your saddle, and you're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. I've since cut the back of the roof off and made it a 3/4 top, so
nice.
It's real fancy now, but it hasn't had the paint job yet. But it's seen a lot of miles.
I believe it because that one summer that I went and rode with Bailey a couple times and you, um, that was a long freaking day. My butt was so raw. I've never. And I rode Mary. I rode your horse
Mhm.
Mary the one time, and you're like, if you go to rope, don't sit up. And I was like, okay, and so conscious. And then we got in the moment, and I don't know how I stayed on that horse because I did. I sat up too far, and she was gone. I was like, oh, see, I think she left with the guy. I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, that one it didn't matter. I got in a mess with calving a bunch of cows out, and then got into a bad scour mess, and so I roped a lot of calves on that little mare, and she could cut back with the calf, and then that's what I was like, you sit down because that calf ducks back. She is going with it.
Yeah.
She was a lot of fun. I honestly, I enjoy making the show horses, but man, those ranch horses, you've 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 been through some of the worst stuff with them, and so those really leave an impression on you. Like I mean, I don't like it when one of my show horses is sore or something like that, but it even bothers me more when one of my using horses is struggling with something because man, you've been through hell and back with those things, and there's good chance they've probably saved you from getting into a wreck a time or two too.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, and I mean, I got a little roan mare right now that I bought her as a 2-year-old, and she's been through everything with us as far as calving stuff out and going and gathering stuff that's escaped, and you can't find them all, and yeah, and you can throw anybody on her. Like she'll pack a kid around, or she's scared to death of buffalo though. She will not get over that. That buffalo, she draws the line, and I've agreed with her that as long as she'll still do her job, if the buffalo are in sight, we're golden. But she's not gonna do anything with those buffalo. She's like, I'm out. I'm like, well, you're good enough. I don't need to stress you about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, them good using horses. Those are hard to replace, and even harder when something's going on with them because they're the ones that you throw that saddle on and wind's blowing 40 mile an hour and blowing snow, and you just bundle up and they're in it with you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think even from a sale point, my friend that owns the Colorado Horse Sale, we've talked about this and we both agree like solid ranch geldings are in such high demand for like even on a sale level because you can literally take them and go do just about anything. And especially if they come from someone who knows how to put a good handle on them, even if somebody wanted to go show a little backyard versatility thing or they wanted a rope or whatever, they're solid.
Yep. And and that's the thing. And that's it. Just getting them broke and just going and putting a reason to why do we pull your nose around here? Well, if you don't move your feet, then we got to ride an extra. It might be 2 miles to go get around that one. You never know what that situation was going to be. And so, yeah, and those horses, they're not dumb. They figure it out. I can remember I had a little blue blood 2-year-old, and he'd run and drag his ass. He was super talented, but he just wouldn't gravitate on the cow like I thought he should be at. So I threw him in the trailer and we went, and it was a little earlier than this time. It was early fall, and so it was a big fall run, getting a lot of balling calves in at the feed yard and stuff like that. So we was doctoring quite a few, and that was one portion of the feed yard I did really enjoy, was starting a pen of calves and the challenge of that. And so we were pulling a lot of calves, and that was when Bailey was working for me. And I tell you what, it didn't take that horse very long to figure out when he didn't move his feet and get over and pay attention to that thing out in front of him, his day got longer. And then it was like the light bulb just come on bright, and he ended up being a really, really nice horse. And a youth kid showed him and got along phenomenal. And then unfortunately he had a abscess that turned into a septic thing, and we ended up having to put him down. He was in Littleton and all that, and that was terrible. Like that one was hard, and it was really hard to watch the youth kid that was her first nice horse, and she had given up a lot in order to even purchase the horse, and so yeah, that one kind of stunk. But then found her something else, and that one's kind of been in the pain. It's like nothing will just line out for them, but
Yeah.
they keep having faith. I said, I am so sorry. This should be working out a little easier than what it's going. They're like, nope, something big's around the corner. I'm glad you guys have the faith, because mine's quivering a little bit. So, but another like great clients, and believe in the process, and I think that's the other thing they know in them young horses. Even if they don't make a show horse, they're still gonna go make a good horse, because they get rode outside, they go move cows, they they get real life experience. So like we're putting fence in right now. I gotta go get some wire, but putting in a bunch of fence right now to turn cattle out on wheat pasture. We actually got moisture through the summer, and so we got some wheat. So we're gonna turn some calves out on wheat, and so then horses get to go trot through some calves and stuff. And I'm lucky to have that opportunity for them horses to just get them out and go do something different. And and there's some days where maybe I don't feel as lucky when things are going the wrong direction, and you get short on time and you can't get everything covered like you need to. But then I have to remind myself that, hey, these horses are broke. A day or two off isn't going to hurt them. What they get in return pays in dividends versus just going and doing the same thing in the arena all the time. So,
yeah.
But yeah, there's always something going on around here.
Yes,
and it's even and it's even more interesting now with Tawny's nephew here, because I call him Tawny 2.0, and you just don't know. You don't know if you know him, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but you just never know which direction the tables are going to be.
I feel like that probably keeps you even more on your toes.
The other day I'm feeding calves, and I just got a skid loader with a hay processor on it, and I see movement out of the corner of my eye, and I look out the window, and he's doing roundoffs through the yard. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, I just got bored. I decided to start doing some roundoffs. There's stickers out here, right? And then he told me, he says, his latest one, he goes, I was thinking about, like, you got to make good choices, good life choices. I said, yeah. Well, I was thinking about doing a backflip off of a horse, but I decided that might not be a good life choice. I can do a backflip, but I've never done it off of a horse. And so I don't know if that'd be a good life choice. I said, probably not, because I don't know that your insurance is good enough. So there's all sorts of colors around here.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I feel like we obviously have to mention Tawny, because
Oh yeah,
T-Fi, she's
T-Fizzle,
the other legend. How long have you guys been friends?
Well, we knew each other since high school, played sports against each other. She went to school in Stratton, I went to school in High Plains. High Plains was two small towns consolidated. So it was only 14 miles from school to school. And so we knew each other through sports and stuff like that. But when I was in high school, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to go home, ride my horses, and I didn't see the point in visiting with people. And Tawny's pretty persistent. She loves people. She talks to everybody, and she's the president of the CRCA and show manager, and she's always talking to people. It never stops. That or she's on her phone and acting like she's talking to people. I don't know, but So yeah, we knew each other clear back then, and she always says she just wore me down. She knew she annoyed me at the beginning, and she just wore me down till I would let her be my friend, is how she puts it. So, but yeah, no, there was three of us girls that just really got along great. Unfortunately, one of them passed away here a couple years ago to a brain tumor. But we've just always been pretty close, and I mean, she's just part of the family. She's like a sister, an older sister. I make sure to remind her she's older. You know, and so then we get together. My family gets together. We all get together, and her family gets together. We all get together, and so yeah, it's just kind of how it is, I guess. But yeah, she knows a lot of people, and a lot of people know her, and some of it's good, and some of it's bad, but we've had a lot of fun. Some we can talk about, and some we can't talk about. But
I feel like you do balance each other very well, because really, like, you're very opposite.
Yeah. You know, the funny part is, like, as people started to get to know both of us in the horse community, you know, everybody thought that Tawny was like the fun go lucky type person, and she is. I was like, man, it's not always that way, guys. Like, she can be really mean. Like, she can tell you off and tell you to go pound sand, and you'll smile and say, okay, that sounds like a great idea. And then as you're walking away, realize what she just told you. And you're like, she got me again. But and I think that's the other thing. Like, she helped me a lot in learning how to visit with people. I mean, and the fact that I can even talk on this video thing right now is a lot to her, because I literally did not talk to anybody when I first started showing horses. And still there's people who think I don't talk, but oh well. And then there's some people who wish I'd shut up. So, and it just, but yeah, she was the one that really pushed me and made me realize, yeah, you can get along as great as you want with a horse, but if you can't get along with people, then it's probably not going to work out very good for you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so
I think it's awesome what you guys have built together, because it's cool to watch both of you, like, contribute your strengths.
Yeah, and like, you know, like
Tawny.
Yeah, and that's like, you know, Tawny, she thought she wanted to be a horse trainer at the beginning, and then she realized she was way too big of a pussy anyway. so when she realized that, and I let her realize it on her own, then she went other areas and made up to help make up the money to try to do this all, make it all work. Because obviously, to push horses up and down the road, we had to own some of them at the first, because I didn't have a name and I didn't work for anybody, and so it was all coming out of our pocket. And she roofed houses. That's not a very fun job. And she did a little bit of everything. Worked for some of the farmers, and now she has her CDL. And if she's not going to horse shows and doing that number, then we bought a truck, and that's another. I mean, we just kind of, our business has a whole bunch of different areas. You know, we got the cattle. She drives the truck and hauls liquid fertilizer and stuff, and then we got the horse training, and our business model kind of looks a lot like how our everyday looks. You know, is you never know what direction we're going, but there's something going on. So
yeah,
and it's always been, and that's just kind of when we agreed to do all this and go into business, it was the biggest thing we said is, I'm never going to just pin you down and say, like, I told you so. You know, every decision, we'll talk it over, and if we agree to it, then we're both on board, and it's not going to be no finger pointing. And we've managed to keep it that way this whole time. And to say it's always, you know, obviously it's not always been all roses, but we've both, we went through enough real life stuff that when it comes to business, that's just numbers and lines, and you can figure it out. You know, it might be uncomfortable, but it's not, it could be worse. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's a lot of the reason is just from living real life.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fly. My hands are frozen and there's a fly flying around here.
You're like,
Yeah. I don't have Tourette's. I just have flies.
real life.
Mhm.
I think that's what's so cool too about your guys' program is it's very like unconventional, non-conventional, whatever. But you guys have made it work. Like
I don't know
all of
how
it.
either. And like somebody asked me the other day, they're like, if you could do it all over again, what would you change? And I was like, I don't really know, you know, because it's been an adventure, you know,
Mhm.
and we're both proud of what we got here. And of course, everybody wants. If you don't want more, then you're going backwards, right?
Right.
But and we've had people help us out, you know, at different times, but we've just kind of put our nose to the grindstone and just went to it.
Mhm.
And 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 then in the end, I've always been able to keep it for a safe place. We've had multiple people, and I think that's the other cool part. I mean, like Tristan used to be Cooper. I can't remember her married name now, but
Oh, I can't
you know,
either at the moment.
I can't think of it. You know, we babysat her. I mean, she was out here all the time. And then today she just showed up in the yard right before I called you. I said, "Well, I gotta go do this podcast thing, and then I'll be out." I said, "Did you bring your boots?" "Yeah, I brought my boots." I said, "Okay." You know, and so I think when you have something where people come back to it or wanting to come back to it, then you're doing something right. I know we're not always doing everything right, that's for sure. But at least as far as people enjoy coming back here, people care, and it's a really neat community. You know, whether it's our farrier, our vet, I mean, just everybody's, you know, on the same team, and I think that's really cool. And I don't think that happens very often.
No.
So it's always got a family feel to it, maybe.
Yeah.
So
I think people too see like one, you guys are so genuine. Like there's no there's
it works
no
for some and it works some it don't. You're either
one
in or you're out.
person.
There's no sitting on top of the fence. It's either you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you guys are like so genuine. And I think people see like realize that you have worked for everything. And again, like it just makes you more relatable. Like, yeah, that's what I think. That's my 2 cents. For what it's worth. Just like, oh my God, we hadn't talked forever before we talked on the phone the other day.
And we talk like we just picked up from
Yeah.
where we
I
left
was
off.
thinking about that. I'm like, I don't think I've seen you. I saw you at that one horse show in South Dakota, but that would have been in like
That was a long time. That'd been like
2021.
2021. It was just after the good old COVID.
Yeah. I think 2020 was when I
That
rode
was
the
when you were
bull
with
and I called you off
yeah.
the freaking lot.
You and Tawny called me.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so that would have been 2020. So
Yeah.
2021 was probably like the last time I saw you, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. And then crazy.
Yeah, well, but I think, and I'm proud that that's what this place has turned into, and that even if you go on and do other things in life, or your life takes you other places, there's still a home here, type feel. So, because if you don't have that, then I don't think it's worth doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Again, with this episode, it was so hard to pick my favorites. I literally just went off the top 3 most downloaded. And I want to thank you guys for being here, for listening, for everyone who has been a guest. My mission with this podcast is to share the real and the raw side of entrepreneurship, of life in the horse industry, of following your faith and your calling from God, even when you don't feel like you're being a good, I don't know, whatever your faith is. If you're a sinner, if you feel like that, but being able to lean on that and still doing what you want. I hope you come here and you find some motivation. I hope you find something that resonates with you. I hope you find a tiny little bit of inspiration. That is my goal with this podcast. And I appreciate the people who come on here and share their stories and show up as real and as genuine as they can, because that is our mission. That is our goal. And I cannot wait to continue this on. I cannot wait for the new guests that we have coming. I have a list. I keep a list in my phone. So if you guys have guests that you would recommend that feel like they fit this mission, that they would fit this podcast, that you want to hear their story here, let me know. Shoot me a message on Facebook. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. If we are looking for sponsors and partners in 2026. We are ready to go to the next level. Our podcast is constantly growing. It amazes me how I will just be like walking around, like, oh my God, like, that's your podcast? I'm like, yeah, that's my podcast. That's my baby. So get your business seen on our podcast. Let's talk sponsorships. We can offer sponsorships that are just across our podcast, or that can even expand across our Big Sky Horse Sales platform, which is ever growing. And also another network that absolutely amazes me. People are like, are you Crystal? And I'm like, yes, I am. They're like, I follow you on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, such a small world. So crazy. But yes, if you're interested in partnership, let's talk about it. We can offer some very customized packages. Again, if you have a guest that you think would be perfect for our podcast, let me know. Share it with your friends, please. Everything that we have done and grown with the podcast so far has been all organic and all out of my pocket. So we definitely appreciate shares. Like I said, our whole goal here is just to share everybody's story, raw, real, have a place that people can come and find somewhere to be inspired, motivated, feel relatable. That's what we're here for. And again, we couldn't do it without you and our guests. And I thank you guys so much for being here. And here's cheers. And empty Alani, cheers to our next 25 episodes of Horses, Hope, and Hustle. Thanks, guys. One day I'll find a way to not end a video so awkward. I may need to Google it. Maybe ChatGPT. Thanks for riding along with me on Horses, Hope, and Hustle. If you found even a little bit of inspiration or grit here today, share it with a friend, leave a review, or tag us on socials. And keep showing up for what truly matters. Until next time, stay true, stay tough, and keep hustling.